Hey everybody. I'm laying down, so my voice isn't very clear, I'm sure, but my cough is clearing up. Yay. Praise Yahweh above for that because I was getting kind of concerned. Um yeah, everything seems to be healing up nicely, so hopefully I'll be all better by this time next week. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about COVID treatment. I did a little bit of research myself. Now, basically, we know what coronavirus is, we know what COVID is. We know that it's scary. We know in general that people are getting tested for it. We know that some people are dying from it. We know some people are not dying from it. But I just learned something I didn't know. I'm not a nurse and I'm not a doctor and I don't work in the medical community, so I didn't really have a reason to know up close and personal exactly what goes on with it. But I decided to look into it tonight because I was kind of curious as to um, what happens when you do get this virus. Because my children do not take it seriously at all. One of my children says, Mom, I've lived a good long life. If this is the way I'm going to die, that's the way I'm going to die. The other ones feel like it's stupid to have to wear the mask. They don't want to wear the mask. They do wear it, but they hate it. And they complain about it all the time. A lot of them say, oh, it's just a bunch of hype. Yes, people are dying, but they have extenuating circumstances and other illnesses, and that's why they're dying. My kids just don't take it seriously, and it concerns me greatly. Not that I want them to all run out and get tested for COVID, but please use precautions. You know, these are my girls, my daughters. Anyway, let's talk about what COVID treatments there are, what you actually go through if you are diagnosed with this and you have I guess, a pretty severe case of it. This is what you go through, and there's several steps that they take you through, and this terrified me hearing this. I was like, oh my gosh, I never want to ever get this thing. I mean, I will guard myself like crazy to avoid getting this because now I know. Now I know what they do. So the way they described it was your lungs are kind of like a tree. And into that tree, there has to be oxygen and carbon dioxide that comes out. So oxygen goes in, carbon dioxide is breathed out. When you have the coronavirus or any type of acute respiratory disorder, disease, whatever, what happens is your blood oxygen doesn't quite work the way it's supposed to. It doesn't go to the place it's supposed to. And your lungs gradually fill up with fluid. And it becomes increasingly difficult to breathe. By the way, disclaimer on this, if there's any children nearby, please move them to a different room or a different place in the house, because this could be upsetting for children or even sensitive individuals. So don't listen if you are sensitive. It bothered me, and I'm very sensitive, but it's information that you need to know, I feel, or I wouldn't be on here saying this. Anyway, so the first thing they do is they have to try to get that fluid out of those little alveoli, those little tiny cells or whatever they are in your lungs. They have to bring that inflammation down and lower the fluid level. So what they do is they pump into you, I believe it's carbon dioxide that they pump into you to try to, I guess, dry up that fluid. And it doesn't work right away. It takes a long, long time, apparently. Because the patient, when they feel like they are getting all this extra carbon dioxide, they feel probably pretty much like they're suffocating. So they try to overbreathe, which means once they're put on the respirator, they're not allowing the respirator to work. So they're trying to breathe in a different pattern than the way the respirator is going. So you have this patient laying there, you're trying to save their life by putting this carbon dioxide in to bring the fluid level down so they can breathe again on their own. and the oxygen can get into these parts of the lungs. And the patient is freaking out because you're pumping all this extra stuff in that they're trying to get rid of out of their lungs. So they're panicking and they're overbreathing. So now you have to figure out a way to calm the patient down enough so that the ventilator can get the stuff in there so they can be healed from this awful thing. Anyway, how are you going to do that with a patient that's freaking out? Well, this is the next step of what they do. And this terrified the you know what out of me. They paralyzed the patients. I guess they give them like muscle blockers or something. So the patient can't fight the respirator, and the respirator can do what the respirator needs to do. So, all in all, yeah, you want the respirator to work, right? Of course, because you want the patient to heal. But if a patient is flipping out, and I guarantee you I would be, I'd be terrified. I would feel like I was dying. Then you got to paralyze the patient, make it so they can't fight. And they can't move, and they can't, I guess they just can't do anything other than whatever the machine leaves them helpless to lay there and do. So then they paralyze you. And the next step, if the lungs are still filling up with fluid, is they put you in what's called the prone position, which means almost upside down. They tip the table, I guess, that you're laying on, the bed or whatever. So you're basically hung upside down, kind of, so your lungs can drain out. You know what? None of that sounds fun to me. Does that sound fun to you? That's what these poor patients are going through. That's what people that are nurses on here are witnessing every day when they go into work. This is scary stuff, guys. This is enough to make me want to wear a double mask and a filter just to avoid getting this awful thing. I pray to Yahweh God above that something is discovered or something can be done to get rid of this terrible thing. I mean, I really don't want to walk around like a masked avatar the rest of my life. I don't know about you. I kind of like showing my face. I kind of like seeing other people's faces. In fact, it reminds me of a bunch of little bandits running around with these masks on. Thankfully, people are very innovative and creative, and they will decorate their masks and wear different colors and stuff like that. But still, it's not fun having to wear a mask everywhere you go. So, I don't know. I just wanted to share with you that that is how they're reducing the death risk from this awful thing that we're going through right now. They're doing those three things. They're putting more carbon dioxide into them to drain their lungs, then they're paralyzing them, and then they're tipping them upside down prone. That's three treatments that they use, or three steps of a treatment. And all of them sound icky to me and scary and very maddening, and like I would just plain want to go to heaven and not have to go through any of that. So I pray to God, I pray to Yahweh that what they're saying about it's not a matter of if you're going to get it, but when. I pray that that is not the case for me or anybody that I love, anybody dear to me. And I ask the Lord every day to protect me and to give me good hygiene and give me good practice of wearing my mask and washing my hands and disinfecting things so that I don't get sick. So hopefully and prayerfully you guys are doing the same thing. Anyway, I'm not going to make this a long live. I just wanted to come on and share those things with you because it was kind of interesting and yet scary all at the same time. But it's necessary and it needs to be heard. So now you have heard it. So now I will head off of here. You guys have a blessed night. I'm heading to bed. I'm tired. I know it's early. It's 9:30 here, but early enough that I'm going to get some shut-eye because tomorrow's a big day. Turkey Day, everybody. Thanksgiving Day. Time to get together with the family and friends virtually or literally, however you're going to do it. And be safe and well and have a good time while you're gathered. And I will see you next time. God bless. Shalom.